Okay, I got what I wanted to make. Now, I want to ask you a question. What do you think how do you think I can use this? What do you think this can be used for? Yes?
Give it to a cat.
Give it to a cat. Okay. Yes? Excuse me? Okay. Yeah. I can use it as a soccer ball. So I will call Madame Laura Brooks to read the passage for us. Just read the passage, circle in red. This is the book that you read.
We walked home with a group of kids who had also been kicked out. Nation was laughing with them and dribbling the ball, which one of his friends had made out of plastic bags and string.
So now, what do you think this is? Can somebody come here so that we play a bit? Kaji? This is the only kind of ball I used to play as a little boy. So I wanted you to see what it looks like because you read this book. And when I was coming here, I was standing out there, I saw something. A student dropped this pencil and nobody cared to pick it up. You know what happened to me? I got shocked. Deeply shocked. Because a pencil where I'm from can change lives. Yeah. There are many students who can't even afford a pencil. As a little boy, I couldn't even afford a pencil. The only thing I had was my slate and a piece of chalk. So it is a great privilege for me to be able to stand here today and speak to you all in English. Because English is not my language. I hope you're going to understand me. I hope I'm trying to sound American, which is not easy for me. But I want you to know that I was born in a community where English is not spoken. My father didn't speak English. My mother didn't speak English. Nobody in my community spoke English. I was born in 1985 and in the month of May, and I was told that my father died in December. So I was only 7 months. I didn't know my father. I was left in the village with my mother in extreme poverty. Yeah. My mother didn't have a job. She was a poor woman. I had to walk miles to go to school, about 6 miles every day. Sometimes when I come and stand around the cafeteria, I see students who eat what they want, and I see so much food that is wasted. I'm like, wow, look at all this food that could save lives where I'm from. Here in America, you have 3 meals. You have breakfast, lunch, then dinner. I never had any of that. I don't know what it means to have breakfast, because I would wake up in the morning, go to school sometimes without shoes. I never had a textbook. I never had a pen. This is the only type of ball I would play. Sometimes when I go to the gym and see all the balls and see the Eagles of McCracken and see how well dressed they are, I'm like, wow, what a privilege. What a privilege these students have. So I think you are privileged to be here. You are privileged to have everything that you have. And I would like to encourage you not to take life for granted. Then, when my father died, I was left with my mother, as I was telling you my story. When I got to, we call it class 5, my mother died. You can imagine a poor woman having as the only person in the world your mother who is a poor woman, and that person dies. It was so difficult for me. I was left in the village by myself. I'd never heard a word of English. I had nothing. There are days I would go without eating There are days I would eat salt because sometimes I would spend 3 days without eating. And I would find some salt and I would eat salt. Yeah. Then I was left there. The only thing I had was my dream. And I had some of my cousins who used to come from the city and they used to make us dance. I mean, the music of somebody who was called Michael Jackson. I didn't know who that was. Yes, I was one of those dancers. We used to dance, but I don't know. We were trying to sing like him. We didn't even know what he was saying. What was he saying? So we used to dance. Then when I came to secondary school, which we call it middle school now, the first time I heard an English word was when our English teacher came to class, because in that French-speaking environment, English was taught as a foreign language. So when he came into the class, as we had to introduce ourselves, when my time came for me to speak, you know, I had many friends who were repeating the class, and just for me to say my name is, all my friends started laughing at me because I could not even say an English word. I was like, wow. Then somebody told me that, you know, the language that McCracken speaks is called English. And I said, okay, since I like this man, you know, I used to see some of his pictures, I was like, I think I should learn this language to try to understand what this man is saying. Yes, I started studying English. I have to tell you that I never had a textbook. I can't tell you how many times I was expelled from school. Yeah, there are times I would be expelled from school, and my classmates, when they would be coming back from school, I would borrow their textbooks, notebooks to go to school and try to read and copy the lessons. I spent my entire childhood never sleeping because my grandmother told me that, my son, a poor man does not sleep. Because if you sleep, you're going to die poor. That's why sometimes I talk to my friend, Madame Laura Brooks, and tell her that I almost don't sleep. I don't know at what time you can come to my house. If you knock at the door, I will say, who is there? Because I don't sleep. That's the spirit I grew up with. Because I would spend the whole night reading, studying English, trying to sing like Michael Jackson, trying to understand what he was saying, trying to learn about Dr. King, reciting irregular verbs, learning how to count from 1 to 10, from 10 to 100, trying to study English pronunciation. And I would stay at school the whole day. And just 2 years later, the whole school started talking about me. Hey, this guy knows English. This guy is good at English. This guy is good at English, good at English. I was like, wow. Then, by the end of the year, whenever there was a difficult question in my class, I would be the one to answer in English. I would be the one, I became the president of the news club. I would be the one to read the news in English. And when I got to 9th grade, we call it troisième in French, because in Cameroon, we have, our schools are made in such a way that a high school and a middle school are one. Yes, so I was a middle school student, but I became the president of the English club of the entire school. So I had students who were doing what you have here as 11th, 12th grade, but I was a 9th grade student. I was the best in English. You know, I never had a textbook. I used to go to my friend's house to do homework. I used to walk miles to go to my friends' houses. Some would say, no, I can't give you my book. And sometimes, when one of them would give me their book, I would come back home, spend the whole, because that was my only opportunity. Yes, somebody would give me his book, so I would not sleep. I could not sleep because I knew that if I take this book, if I don't read all of it, if I don't read it from beginning to end, this guy is going to take his book tomorrow, and there will be no opportunity for me to read it again. So I will read books like this, you know, just one night. Just one night, I will sit and read all of it. I spent all my time reading, learning, trying to speak English until I started being a little bit fluent. And still in middle school, I started teaching my friends English. Yes, whenever they had a problem, they would come to me and say, hey, Omgba, man, we have problems. And you know, those guys who were mocking me at the beginning, all became my students. When we were still classmates, we were still schoolmates. They used to come to me and I started teaching them English. I started teaching them. So I'm like, I was born to teach. So starting from 9th grade, I started teaching English. And when I got to 12th grade, I became the best in the whole city where I was. Then I heard of a series in the university which were called bilingual studies. So I would study English and French. Then I went there. I contributed with English, working so hard in English. I went to university, I had my BA. Then I started doing my Master's 1. Then I had my entrance exam into the School of Teachers. out of about 200 students, we were just 16 of us. I was one of them. I got it. You know, at the beginning they told me, well, guy, you're from a poor family, you don't have money. You don't have money. And how sure are you that you're going to have this exam? Because you can't pay for it. I said, no. I work hard and I have God with me. I worked so hard and I went into this school. And when I went to this school, I became what we call class representative. So I was the leader. I continued working so hard and I became a teacher of English, a teacher of a language that my parents never spoke, a teacher of a language that nobody in my community spoke. Let me tell you a story. When I was graduating from the School of Teachers, my whole family was there. My sisters were there. They were telling me all they were doing was just to pray because they did not understand what I was saying. They just saw their brother speaking a language that they never knew existed even. They saw me speak, they saw people clap. They didn't know what I was talking about. So they said the only thing they were doing was just to pray. Saying, please God, help him. Help him. And I graduated, I gave the best defense, and I graduated. Then when I became a teacher, I said to myself, well, and you know, I used to read so much about leaders of the world, and I learned about John Kennedy, who said, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. I said, well, now I'm a teacher, and tomorrow I'm going to work, and my government is going to pay me. But I'm still not satisfied. I want to do something that will make me put myself at the disposal of my nation without anybody paying me. Yes. Then I created an English club where I started training businessmen, civil servants, footballers. I mean, people from my government, university students. And that club existed for 5 years. Every Saturday I would go there, teach people English, teach people a language that I learned, a language that I just took as foreign language. Many of you are taking French here, Spanish as foreign languages. Yeah, I started teaching. I became the best teacher of my country, of a language that was not mine. Then the day I got to the American embassy, the American ambassador got so interested in me and said, hey, guy, are you doing all this? So you're training people for free. You're teaching people English. And I told her, do you know that I can sing the American national anthem? She said to herself, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early? She was like, oh, you can sing the American national anthem. I said, all right. Go back to your school. I went back to my school. They gave me books, thousands of books. I started running English clubs. I started helping people left and right. And one day I got a phone call and they said, Mr. Omgba, are you ready to hear the good news? I said, good news? I said, yes. They said, we nominated you to go to the United States of America as an adult mentor for the Pan-African Leadership Program. That was in 2015. I was like, wow. And she said, we saw what you're doing in the country, and you're just a special Cameroonian. So I came here in 2015 with students from 5 different African countries for a leadership program. Then I went back to my country, and I continued working. And I think last year, somebody from the embassy still told me about a program that would hire international teachers to come to the US. And I applied. Then when I got my interview with people from the program, they were so surprised. They said, hey, you speak English and French is your first language? Okay. Then they put me in touch with the principal of Miss Thompson, who interviewed me, the principal of Carver. She was like, hey, you know so much about America. That's how I found myself here. And today I can work here as a teacher of French. And I'm very happy to be here. My being here today is like a dream come true. It is a miracle because it is something I never believed. I was raised in extreme poverty where I had nothing. I never had a textbook. I never had a pencil. That's why I was telling Madame Laura Broussard, this pencil is going to inspire me. You know, I was standing there and somebody dropped the pencil and nobody came to pick it up and say, hey, look at that. Oh my God. A pencil falls and nobody picks it up. These students are so privileged. Look at that. They have pencils, a pencil falls, nobody picks it up. When I see all the food that they waste, when I see all the MacBooks, when I see all the lovely parents that come here every evening to pick them up. So I came here today to tell you that you're privileged. Yeah. That you are, as Martin says in this book, as he says to Kathleen, you are lucky. If I speak like you all are lucky. You all are lucky, yes. You are very lucky. You are very privileged to be where you are. Because you have everything. So, please, don't tell me that math is difficult because you have all the calculators. Don't tell me that basketball is difficult because you have all the balls. Don't tell me that soccer is difficult because you don't play this like me. You play authentic balls. Don't tell me that band is difficult because you have all the instruments. Don't tell me that school is difficult because you have all the teachers. I studied in some schools where there was no teacher. I was posted to a school in my country where students have spent 5 years without a teacher of foreign language. Yes, but you have all the awesome teachers. You have all the instruments. You have a good school. You have a good supporting you. And when it is lunchtime, I see everybody gathering there. There's so much food. And in the evening, you go back and eat. So don't tell me that school is difficult. Because you have a big privilege. Make good use of it. Make good use of this privilege. Study English. Don't tell me French is difficult. Because you can afford dictionaries. I could not afford a dictionary in my life. Yes. There's a friend of mine who had a small dictionary, and I took the dictionary. I used to read it every night. And you have all the dictionaries. You have MacBooks with internet connection. You have phones. You have parents who come and pick you up. You know, I told you, I used to walk about 6 miles to go to school, sometimes without shoes. But the only thing I had was my dream. So if I could succeed without a pencil, you have to succeed with all the pencils that you have. If I could succeed without shoes, I can see. Look at the beautiful shoes you're wearing. You have to succeed. Yes. If I could succeed without a calculator, you have to succeed with all the calculators you have. The first time I had a computer is when I became a teacher. But you, at middle school, you have computers. So you have a great privilege to be here. Make good use of it. Don't take life for granted. Don't take your studies for granted. Because there are students like you somewhere who can't even afford a pencil. That's why I told you when I saw this pencil, I was shocked. Yes, some students can't even afford a pencil. Don't take life for granted. Study. Make good use of the opportunities you have. And be the best. Thank you, and God bless you.